Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Florida Society of Health System Pharmacists Town Hall Meeting. Today is November 16th, and before I forget, we have two more dates for the next town halls. February 2nd, which is a Thursday, and Mika, help me here, please.
24th,
which is a Wednesday, both at 6 p.m. I meant to put a slide in here and I did not do that. But we're going to move pretty quickly tonight because we really have a lot to cover. So Mika, would you like to say hello and show us your face?
hello and welcome everyone. Happy to see everybody this last August as we keep going and growing larger and larger. There are names and faces that I've not seen before, so we'll be getting to know each other soon as this term continues and going into next year's annual meeting. So again, welcome.
Thank you, Mika. This is the agenda. I'm going to move, as I said, pretty quickly. Kevin is on and he is going to share with us our membership update. However, I don't find my slide in the right spot. So Kevin, if you want to start, I will readjust my slides.
Sure. So you'll see once we get to the slide
Yes.
that we have about 50% of our membership are active pharmacists, especially when you add in like joint memberships and things like that. We're right at 50% of our membership are pharmacists. Right now we're at a total of 3,108 members. This report was done maybe a week or so ago, so there may be a few more now, but that's about average for us. So we're pretty much on track with where we've been in the past. And I don't know if there's any other details you'd like for me to cover, Kathy, but you can see the numbers down the screen. Happy to answer any questions.
Great. I think what we'll do, Kevin, is we'll hold off on the questions to the end, and then we'll just open it up and have like open forum. But thank you for that. And we really value you. Thank you for all you do for us. It's coming back to me. I just want to give you an FSHP update. If you go to calendar of events, we have a total of 3 on-demand webinars. The first is National Provider Status, and that is good through December 30th. And Mika, we'll put this on the advocacy page before we discard it, if that's okay. But it will be good for 1 hour of CE, and it's a history of how all the professions obtained national provider status. And there's a lot of lessons learned that can be extrapolated to us. It was probably the most fun webinar, or I should say, presentation that I have ever given. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I did making it. And then we have ways to handle the white bagging arrangement you never consented to. Some really great information in there. Kyle Robb from ASHP presents along with Ken Comey from Moffitt and Jorge Garcia from Baptist in South Florida. I work at Baptist, so I get a little tongue-tied there. And if you scroll down, you will find Breaking the Pharmacy Technician Ceiling. And this is how to recruit and retain pharmacy technicians. This is really well done. We had Madeline Camejo, the vice president of Baptist in South Florida, and Tara McNulty, our illustrious Tara, present on strategies that result in technician recruitment and retention, and a myriad of other things as they relate. So this recording is available to you until December 15th for CE credit. So take advantage of these, especially if you need CE credit.
And Kevin dropped the link to these 3. You can find these 3 in the chat.
Thank you, Mika. I want to give a shout out. I know Mike is not able to join us today, but I want to give a shout out because it was through this town hall that Mike McGee said, we really need to pay attention to technicians and recruitment and retention issues. And so it took about a year. We formed a subcommittee, Anissa, Gail, Sharita, Heather Fuller, John Armistead, Jeff Bush. I guess I have Heather on there twice. And let me see, my bar is in the way. Mika, is there anybody after Jeff?
That's it.
Okay. We got together and we met several times and then we put this on and I just really thought it was awesome. And of course, Tara McNulty. And I'm moving now to the next slide. Oh my goodness, this is the wrong slide deck. Will you excuse me 1 second? Because these are not in order. Combined. All right, well, I will work with what I have here.
Kathy, if you want, I can give a financial quick 5-minute if you want to pull that up. Or-
Yep. All
All right.
it says is financial. Keep going.
All right. You want me to go or you're as you
You go. Go ahead.
So guys, I'm going to give a quick financial update because I know Kathy has a tight timeline with the presentation and your time, respect of your time. From a financial perspective, we are reorganizing the finances within the organization. We want to put accounting principles in place where we have deferred based accounting practice, deferred revenue, to actually apply on the months they're being used, and deferred costs to also make sure they're reflected in the months they're being used versus a cost-based accounting system. Why are we doing that? For good accounting principles, it's important to have that for external audit. And external audit is our methods for checks and balances within the organization. I'm going to pause there. We did meet with the external auditor. We expect to get a letter soon from the external auditor telling us everything looks good, but they do want us to go to a full deferred base system before we go to the next level of certification of external audit. So I do want to tell you as a treasurer, I do think everything looks solid. Everything looks like it's in place. We just have to really change our financial systems to a deferred based accounting system versus cost based. So I think I touched on our work with that. And through that process, the last thing, we are really leveraging improvements in technology. So we have a couple financial programs we're interfacing together so they all talk to each other, and that'll add a level of automated checks and balances around the financials for the organization. It'll also allow us to have better intelligence on how certain initiatives are performing financially. And through those gains, we'll be able to leverage dollars within the organization for, Kathy Baldwin and the advocacy groups, right? We want to make sure we are good stewards of advocacy for the organization. I'm going to pause there and ask if there's any questions for me from the group, from our EC or members. I know I said a lot, but if you guys ever want to reach out to me, email me, call me, I'm available.
Thank you, Dave.
Yep. Hand back over to you.
You have 2 minutes to spare. Appreciate you.
I told you.
So back on target, we had our inaugural fall meeting, AmCare Symposium, and I want to say it was a success. And I want to give a shout out to the education component group, ambulatory care component group, Southwest Society for their financial support, Deonis, FSHP President, Sarah Pinella, Jeff Bush, who this was his brainchild, this was his baby, and of course to Tamika Bennett. And if I missed anyone on this, I apologize to you, but I went and I met so many awesome people, and I think that's really where FSHP shines. You create lifelong friendships with people. And since then, I've been working with Nick, who spoke on talking points for provider status. So thank you to everyone for making that a success. Just a quick reminder, the FSHP Mentor Mentee program is open until November 30th. Please sign up. We are looking for students and we are looking for pharmacists. Tomorrow in your email, there should be a survey for you to take. But if that gets jammed up in your health system email, email Tamika or Kevin and they can help get you into that program. It's
There's a
very-
link dropped in the chat just now.
Thank you, Mika. Thank you, Kevin. Is Krista, I'd like to send it over to you to talk for just a minute about your work with the DPAC and our naloxone program.
And Kathy, can you put it back in the presentation thing? I
Oh,
don't
is
know.
it not in the presentation?
No,
Oh, excuse me. Is it there now?
no, you probably should stop and then reshare.
Yeah, I did. Oh, goodness. Stop. Okay.
Kathy, do you want me to share my screen or can I share my screen?
Well, it'd be probably better not to.
Okay.
If you just give me 1 second, I know what I'm kind of doing here, but we
I
go.
sent you my slides.
I made one, yeah, from the current side. Okay, any better? Showing or not?
No,
Okay, let's do it again. Share the screen. You are now sharing the screen. But this is the wrong one. All right, I have to close this. New share. Is it up?
Yes.
yeah.
Very good. Thank you for your patience.
Hi, everyone. So I presented in Tallahassee to something called the DPAC. It is the Drug Policy Advisory Council. It was created in 1999. The legislator created the Drug Policy Advisory Council in the Office of the Executive Office of the Governor, and its purpose was to coordinate drug control efforts, provide information to the public about the problem of substance abuse and services available, and develop a strategic program and funding to coordinate state agency activities relating to drug control. So some of the members of the Drug Policy Advisory Council are the State Surgeon General, the Governor's Office on Policy and Budget, who is Chris Spencer. We've met with him when we've gone to Tallahassee. He is a friend of Joseph, our lobbyist, and a graduate of University of Miami with him. So he's a good friend of pharmacy. The Attorney General, an executive director of the Department of Law Enforcement. And then we have people like the Secretary of the Department of Corrections, the Commissioner for the Department of Education, who is Manny Diaz, also a friend of pharmacy. There's somebody from the military on there. So a very wide array of representation on this council. And so the agenda that you're seeing is what I presented along with somebody from the Department of Children and Family Services named Jeff Cece. And we presented on naloxone and overcoming barriers. So we spoke a little bit about FSHP and what we're doing, how we're getting into hospitals and ambulatory care settings. And Jeff talked about the funding that was available. So it was a really great presentation to make these high-level officials aware of the options that are available for naloxone and dispensing it and getting it to the public. I don't know if you have anything else to comment, Kathy.
Thank you, Krista. Yeah, I just wanted to say that we kind of took a couple slides and told them who we are and said, we understand because we're the pharmacists in the ICU. We're the pharmacists who make the MAT therapy for the Suboxone therapy for the babies when they're born. We're the pharmacists in the ED department when we see patients get their naloxone and run out of the hospital AMA rather than being admitted. We're the pharmacists who see them on the naloxone groups, and we understand that addiction and that substance use disorder is a disease. So we really kind of want to get our name out there. And I think Krista did a great job of that. Tearing down silos is what it's all about. So thank you so much, Krista, for taking a day off from work, driving to Tallahassee and doing that on our behalf. Really appreciate you and you're doing that.
You're welcome, Kathy. It was an honor to be able to do that.
Thank you. Now I'm scared to push the next button. Okay, ASHP update. So there's a lot of stuff going on at ASHP, and I really would recommend if you're not a member to please consider becoming one because no one advocates for us the way ASHP does. So Kirsten Parker reminded me that there are new residency standards, and she sent these to me. So I wanted to share them with you because she's not able to be here tonight. And she said, the new standard appointment and reappointment of preceptors now limits the preceptor term of appointment to 4 years, requires documentation. Preceptor qualifications, the time frame has decreased to 5 years to 4 years to meet some of these. And then there's a statement on role modeling ongoing professional engagement. I wanted to pick up there by saying, I read the standards, and they want preceptors to actually be engaged in state affiliates in leadership positions, and they want preceptors of residence to be getting awards. And they particularly named Pharmacist of the Year as an example of that award. So immediate past president Elias Shaheen is updating metrics because we are expecting an onslaught of award nominations. And we also have Marlena Fox with Nicole Reardon and Petra Estep working on professional affairs to update nominations. We want to make everything transparent, objective, and available to people should there be a question. And so this is the communique that came out from ASHP. It's special edition of the new accreditation standard, along with a wellness statement for residents. The policy includes statements on wellness and resilience to ensure that residents and preceptors are educated on wellness and resistance, burnout, risk, and mitigation strategies. And that brought me to something that came across my email today that I wanted to share with you. And I had been aware of this, and I'm also aware, I believe that Baptist Health South Florida hired 2 clinical wellness pharmacists. And I was talking with Nick from the Ambulatory Care Forum in Tampa, and he said USF also had hired a wellness pharmacist. So it looks potentially for jobs, and I was thinking maybe we should have some kind of a presentation on this new role. So if you agree with that, put that in the chat. I'll keep going because I'm clinical. I focus on clinical. I would like everyone to know clinical practice guidelines for prescribing opiates for pain has been updated and released. And there is a new COVID booster, which I only found out when I went to Publix and said, am I due for a COVID shot? And they said, if you've not had one in 3 months or COVID, yes, you are. There's a new booster out. And I will hang out here for a second on ASHP Practice Advancement Initiative 2030 goal. And ASHP's goal is to significantly enhance or advance the health and well-being of people by supporting patient care delivery models that optimize the most effective use as pharmacists as direct patient care providers. So in Florida, we are healthcare practitioners, which elevates us clinically, but we are not healthcare providers, which means we cannot get reimbursed because we are not in the Florida insurance code or the Social Security Medicare language. There is a PAI self-assessment tool. The Professional Affairs Committee under Marlena, Petra, and Nicole are working on getting this out to the members. And our goal is to have 25 health systems take this survey. If you've been around a long time, you'll remember the PPMI Summit. So this is an updated version, and it focuses on technicians, resources, AmCare. It's the future of pharmacy, and they're helping us to move along. Another thing with ASHP that we want to be mindful of is DEI, diversity. And I want to say thank you to John Clark, who is leading this. I approve this slide with him. Diversity is being composed of different groups. The benefits of that are demonstrative, more experiences, more understanding, better dialogue, a diversity of thought. Equity is ensuring that all members are equally accepted and have equal access. So we can identify with each other, and we want to intentionally change our thinking process by looking for opportunities to engage people. So we want to be out there looking at people who are innovators, leaders, and then inviting them to come to the table. Succession planning is very important for us at FSHP. And inclusion is equal opportunity, equal access, to opportunity and resources. Again, it's an intentional change in our thinking to engage and invite members to come along and come with us and take our arms, and let's go ahead and get this done together. With that, I will turn it over to Bill Kernan. Bill, you can have 10 minutes if you want.
Hey, Kathy, thank you very much. Appreciate being here to kind of just give a little bit of an overview of our legal and regulatory counsel, some of our advocacy priorities, as well as an update too on some of our federal legislative priorities from ASHP that you just mentioned. So first, the Legal and Regulatory Council has met. We actually had a strategic planning meeting with our leadership, along with Gray Robinson, scanning all of the different things that we know are very, very important to us, and so develop this list of advocacy priorities. First is white and brown bagging. Last year, as you remember, we did have a bill that we were able to get filed. It unfortunately didn't pass, but we're going to go back at this again. White bagging, which is the payer mandated distribution of drugs from their specialty pharmacy to our hospitals and our health system infusion clinics. They do mandate that, and that's what we want to attack. We want to be able to have a choice in that between the patient, the provider, the pharmacy team. And so we're going to be looking to try to get a bill that will attack that mandate and allow patient choice. So we will be working hard on that one. 340B protection for our 340B health systems as well. We want to protect the 340B program from the payers and the PBMs and the manufacturers. The PBMs are now realizing, hey, so for these 340B hospitals, we know you get a reduced price on these drugs. If you send us a bill through and you're a 340B hospital, we'll just go ahead and reimburse you a lot less. And so we actually get the savings. And so the intent of the 340B program was for the savings to those safety net hospitals that take care of the uninsured, the underinsured patients, and we want to protect that program. And so we'll be working hard to be able to get a 340B protection bill through. And then state provider status is also a very, very big, important priority for us. Already 43 other states have some type of bill that tells their Medicaid program, their state Medicaid program, to reimburse pharmacists. So Florida does not have that, and so we're going to be working hard to get that. It might be a test and treat bill, or it might be a bill through the consultant pharmacist pathway, but we'll be working hard to be able to get some type of bill that will recognize pharmacists and reimburse us for our services. We're going to work to engage Medicaid, other commercial payers. Any pathway that we can get something done here is just really, really important. So I'm going to go to the next slide there, Kathy. And then we'll be partnering with the Florida Pharmacy Association on these next two, both PBM reform and working for out-of-state pharmacy technician. PBM reform is obviously very important as PBMs continue to just really suck the life out of our retail and independent pharmacies. If you may not be aware, but Governor DeSantis actually did put through an executive order back in June, which essentially prohibited spread pricing and DIR fees, which are those clawbacks. So after the pharmacy has already gotten paid, the PBMs then go and claw back additional money per their contract. And so he actually put through an executive order that prohibits spread pricing and DIR fees in any affiliated PBM that works directly with the state. So we want to get a bill passed so that it's more encompassing and so that it is a more ironclad, statutes and laws are much better than executive orders. And so that's what we're going to be working on. Last year, we actually did get a bill passed. So that was the first PBM reform bill. It was pretty light, but at least it was a bill. We got it passed. And so we're going to be working to get something with more teeth in it for this year. And then for our pharmacy technicians, we really want to facilitate new out-of-state technicians. So those technicians who are coming from out of state, they might be a pharmacy technician, say in Georgia, but when they come to Florida, they have to pass or go through a board-approved technician program. Well, they might have already been a technician for, say, 10 years, or they're already PTCB certified. Well, in Florida, they still would have to go through that board-approved program. So we want to change that language as well to help facilitate that workforce and get more pharmacy technicians. So those are our advocacy priorities. The legislative session will be starting in March. So do look out for our legislative days. We're in the process of planning that. So I just want to put a plug in for legislative days. Hopefully we'll get a good group to be able to go up there and educate our senators, our legislators, our representatives on all of these very important bills. And then I do just want to highlight one other thing. In the election last Tuesday, we actually had 2 pharmacists get elected to the House of Representatives for Florida. That's a first time, I think, probably ever. We have had 1 in the past, and it's been decades since that has happened, but we didn't just get 1, we got 2. And there is talk, Shane Abbott, who got elected out of the Pensacola district. He is even being talked about as a future leader in the House and then ultimately possibly in the Senate. So hopefully they will be in the Florida legislature for a long time to be able to help get our agenda items passed. So that's a phenomenal accomplishment and a great success for pharmacy in the state of Florida. And then just to give you a little bit of update from a federal level. So I was honored to be able to go to Washington, D.C. for legislative days that's put on by ASHP. I see Jennifer Miles on as well. So I want to give a shout out to her. She was part of our group too. So she was up in Washington, D.C. representing FSHP and Florida pharmacists. So we were able to meet with Senator Scott and Senator Rubio's team, and then each of us went to meet with our local representatives. And so we went through, number one was a national provider status. So just like I mentioned on the state level, we want Medicaid to reimburse us. We really, the ideal bill is a national bill where Medicare recognizes pharmacists as providers so that we can bill Medicare Part B for our clinical services, so that when a pharmacist, whether they're in a pharmacy or they're in a clinic, they sit down, they meet with, say, a diabetic patient, work them through their disease state, maybe modify their medication regimens, we can get reimbursed for that. We dearly need that, and ASHP, as well as other APHA, other organizations are really working hard. There's actually 2 bills that have been filed that are still alive. We have until the end of the year once the legislation finishes up. The first one is the Equitable Community Access to Pharmacist Services Act, HR 7213. That is a national test and treat bill. So that would allow pharmacists across the entire country to test and treat for COVID, for strep, for flu. We've been able to do that obviously with COVID because of the PrEP Act. This would codify this for those for COVID, for flu, for strep, and put it into law forever. And then to also get reimbursed. Now that's not full provider status, it's just test and treat, but that is a big, big step. That bill has some legs, has some potential from what ASHP educated us on. And so we're hopeful that somehow by the end of the year, we can get that bill passed. And then a more broader and really a better bill, the Pharmacy and Medically Underserved Areas Enhancement Act, that is provider status. That writes us into the Social Security Act. ASHP admitted that that one probably is not going to pass. It's still there. It hasn't been withdrawn, but unlikely to pass. And so we really pushed the first one, the Equitable Community Access Act, and as that one does have some potential. I did put a link there, so we're going to send these slides out. You can click that link. You can also go to ashp.org. You go under Advocacy, and you can click a link, and it will allow you to it will then send a letter directly to your representative, and then of course to Senator Scott and Rubio in support of HR 7213. So I do encourage everybody to take just a few minutes to be able to do that. And then there was just two other pieces of legislation that we were advocating for. One is in regards, if you go back, the X waiver for opioid addiction, which is the Mainstreaming Addiction Treatment Act. This will allow, if it passes, will allow pharmacists to be involved in opioid addiction programs. Right now, we can't prescribe buprenorphine. We can't really participate in those programs. And so we need this bill to be able to pass. It eliminates this X waiver, which is really what prevents us from being able to be a bigger participant in addiction treatment programs. And so this bill actually has already passed the House. We needed to just pass the Senate. And I will tell you that that was it was very receptive from the senators and representatives that we listened to. So hoping that that gets passed, there's a good chance. And then, as I mentioned earlier, on the state level, 340B protection, ASHP is pushing hard for this. Again, we just want to keep the 340B program for what it was intended for, which was to help those health systems that really take care of our most vulnerable, those who are underinsured and uninsured. And the PBMs essentially, if they reduce the reimbursement to those health systems, they then get the benefit. So PBMs actually would derive the benefit from 340B without some type of protection. So that also, I think, overall had some, very good positive reception as we met with the legislators there. So again, it was an honor to be able to be there. It was a great experience, and just again, happy to be able to represent us and go through these. So thank you, Kathy. That's all I have. Happy to address any questions and appreciate the opportunity to report out.
Thank you, Bill. And I'm so appreciative to you for your willingness to serve and your understanding of these topics and just the direction you're taking us in. So I want to say how much I value you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathy.
And we'll have a Q&A session in just a moment. I'm waiting for my slides will work. Guess who's up? Mark McHale.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, President Kathy. And super happy to be with everybody this evening. And then I kind of wanted to make a little bit of a PAC update for the group. And so all of that wonderful advocacy that Bill was talking about obviously takes some funding. And the PAC, Bill and Kathy left over the PAC in great shape. And I really want to say that over the last 12 months, we've raised a little bit over $35,000. Our goal is actually to get to $50,000 a year. And if you look at those statistics that Kevin put up at the beginning of the slide with 3,000 members within FSHP, and just to do a little bit of quick math, if every single one of those FSHP members donated $100, our PAC would be at $300,000. One of the things that I've said, and I've said very consistently, is I'm always very impressed by the generosity of a lot of our members within the organization. People donating $1,000, $2,000 towards the PAC. However, this is a numbers game, and we have a good group and a great base of people that are doing it. But the more people that we can get to just give $11 a month, $10 a month, we can really get to that $300,000 number. We had a very successful PAC event at the annual meeting where we had Kyle Robb from ASHP speak on national advocacy. And, when we look at, Bill obviously got 10 minutes on the agenda tonight because legislative advocacy, especially with the two pharmacists within the legislature, is really a top priority for FSHP. Everybody is trying to expand their scope of practice. Pharmacy, we know we are not practicing at the top of our license. So how do we protect the pharmacy? And it really comes down to making sure that we have the equitable authority to really practice at that top of the license. So, this last election, we put out a pretty good, decent amount of money into a lot of campaigns. I'm happy to report every single candidate except for one that we supported through the PAC was elected. And so that really gives us a strong friends within the legislature to, not to say that they are going to vote based on dollars that are given to them, but at least open up an ear and give us a platform to really reach out and make a solid case of all of the legislation that we're trying to put forward, why it's so important. And then I just wanted to shout out, I know there's a lot of local PAC advocacy going out as well. And Kathy, Bill, thank you for support. I know that this last election, we held a CFSHP local event where we partnered with some independent pharmacies, and we actually raised close to $10,000 in one evening for Jason Broder, who was elected to the state Senate. Our membership got to spend a great evening with him. He really, they presented the importance of pharmacy, why it is there. And again, just really not necessarily all about the dollars, but just being able to have that platform to have our voice heard so that when we go to Tallahassee, our case is made. So if the take-home message, I don't know if I'm close to my 5 minutes, the take-home message is, thank you guys so much for your generosity. I know most of you on this call are PAC contributors. If you're not, you can go to the FSHP website, go to the PAC page and donate. I highly encourage you to be a monthly donor of, $15, $25, $50, $100 a month, whatever your budget allows, and allow us to have those resources to continue to push this advocacy before. And I think it's important on the local levels. I know that there's a lot of regional society presidents on tonight, that they are really pushing the advocacy for the PAC as well, so that we can continue to move agendas forward. And with that, Kathy, unless I forgot anything, I'll turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you, Mark. So there is a benefit to going at the end of the presentation when we're running ahead of schedule. So thank you so much for this update. And I noticed that Kevin did put in the chat the donation page to get that set up. We lead by example and give $100 a month to support our PAC. So we don't want to ask you to do anything that we wouldn't be willing to do. And, every bit counts. $25 a month recurring is fabulous. That gets us to the 250 mark, if I've done my math right, which is what we ask. So with this, I think succession planning. So I'm asking everyone to look in the mirror and see if there is a future FSHP leader in the group who's not currently leading and wants to become a leader. We will mentor you, we will coach you, we will put resources into you. Just let us know. We are about you, and you are the future of our profession. So I want to mention succession planning and happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and then open it up to kind of an open forum. We get great ideas through this town hall, like Mike McGee and the technician recruitment and retention. And we also have a toolkit now for that. So who would like to take the stage? If you want to, Mika, do we have a hand raising here?
Do, or you can drop it in the chat.
Alex?
Go
ahead.
Number one, I didn't think I'd be the first choice. I did want to touch upon the wellness part. I really do like to advocate for that and the mental health and well-being. I know you mentioned, I guess maybe a possible talk. I know we have two great pharmacists. I don't know if you want to set up like a webinar sort of thing. I'm sure Marissa Brooks would love to. The past month I worked at ASHP with Anna Dopp on well-being. if you want to do some sort of like form, I don't know what the kind of idea you had, but I think it'd be great if we can set something up, whatever you feel is best, but I'd love to help on that as well.
Thank you, Alex. We're entertaining that. And I know Nick told me at USF they've done that as well. So it's exciting when there's new roles. I think we should profile them. I think you're correct. So I have a note here. Thank you for that. Anyone else? Well, I would like to recognize Mike McEwen, who's on the call. Mike, can we see your beautiful face, or are you on a cell phone?
I don't think seeing my beautiful face would be appropriate for tonight. Thank you.
Okay, we don't want to see you in your pajamas. But Mike McEwen is our past executive vice president, and we're always so glad when he comes and joins us. Big supporter of us in his retirement as well. John Armistead is on. John, is there anything you'd like to say? John is ASHP past president.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, John. And anyone else?
Hey, Kathy, this is Drew from the Panhandle. Just one thought that I've had here is in our area, you know, we're on a different time table as everybody else. So I kind of think that when the invites go out for things, like it'd be nice to have both the Eastern time and the, you know, the CST times on it. I think that'd be kind of helpful for us because I know I mix up the time sometimes.
Oh, yeah. You know, I never thought about that. And we have Marguerite on as well from your area. So Mika and Kevin, can we do that moving forward?
Yes, thank you, Drew, for calling that to our attention. We'll definitely, if I can figure it out, but I know there's a way where we can at least just put it in writing when that it's Eastern Standard Time.
What a great problem to have, Drew. Thank you for telling us.
Thank you.
And for everyone knows, we're going to be getting a regional society in the Panhandle, courtesy of Drew Haynes, something I have wanted for years. And I'm thrilled, Drew, that you took that leadership on and you are making that come full circle. Michelle is on the phone. Michelle Weiser, did you have anything, Michelle?
I can't think of anything other than I'll also say happy Thanksgiving, and I guess I turn my video on and just say that it's really great to hear everybody, hear the great things that everyone is doing. I think FSHP is on the right track, and I'm really excited that we finally changed over how we do our financials and accounting, and we have a great treasurer. So just a great report, and thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Welcome.
We really value you. You're a powerhouse. If I ever
If I
need
tell you that I'm
anything.
sitting here working on probable cause because I have a huge meeting tomorrow, and each night this week I've been up past midnight preparing for probable cause because there are so many cases this week, and I haven't had one like this in probably 2 years.
Oh,
So-
wow. Well, thank you for carving out time for us.
And the funny thing is, I've been texting Mike McGee every time you guys say his name. I'm like, "You're famous tonight, Mike."
Well, I'm going to
So
send
he
him the link.
appreciates it.
I'm going to send him the link personally.
Oh, good. I'll
Yeah.
enjoy it. Thanks.
Yeah, we're really grateful for his recommendation.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got Bill Pernius, President-elect.
Y'all, I do want to say, I want to recognize, I put it in the chat and Michelle just touched upon it too, is I do want to recognize Dave and Kevin and Tamika, Dionysus, and the whole entire finance committee. In my short term as so far being president-elect, being part of that group and the amount of time and effort to change this process over is, to say it was a small feat, it's an understatement. It is a lot of time commitment. In addition, I know most of us here are in the pharmacy profession and pharmacists and technicians, and none of us are accountants or finance majors or any of this, and we're all relying on each other to kind of help our organization. During this process of changing our accounting principles, the new software that brings us up to speed to the 21st century and everything else, I know it was frustrating for a lot of people, a lot of frustrations, because it's something that we haven't done before. So I really do appreciate Mika and Kevin and Dave and Donna. I'm not sure if you all know with our accounting, and Donna, and the whole team, because will better position us as an organization to do this. But it was a huge undertaking that we're still trying to iron out. But I really appreciate everybody who's really been part of this, and I hope I'm able still to contribute to it.
And Bill, I want to acknowledge you because you have been such a godsend to me. You are spectacular. And I'm just really enjoying our time together. So thank you.
I try. I enjoy working with you, and I look forward to obviously the presidency meeting the next year. And I look forward to this year with having such an excitement with the advocacy aspects of the 2 pharmacists in Tallahassee and everybody else that's been involved with that. Really exciting times. Really excited to contribute to all the things that we're really trying to move forward to.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your dedication and your commitment. You really are my right hand, and I'm grateful to you. Anyone else? I see immediate past President Shaheen. And I see, go ahead, Elias.
Thank you, Kathy. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I'm not going to show you my camera because I just came home and my background is a disaster. So.
Very well. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Farima has her hand raised.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kathy. So I see several leaders from our regional societies are on this call. So I just wanted to provide a quick reminder regarding the regional society elections. The name for the new officers are due to FSHP, specifically Mika, by December 9th. So please do not forget to send us your new officer rosters so we can get in touch with them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Farima. And John has reminded us about the ASHP mid-year clinical meeting. I will see you there, John. Jeff Bush, anything? Anyone else? All right, I will give this 10 minutes back to you. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your time with us.
Thanks, Kathy.
Have a good night.
Bye. Thanks, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Take care, guys. Happy holidays.
Happy